So you hadn't started your business yet as a dietitian, and you're honestly not even sure if it's the right time. You're thinking that maybe you'll just go and work for clinical for at least 2 years as a clinical dietitian. Now, if that sounds like you, today's video is written just for you, so I want you to stay tuned. I'm Libby Rothschild, founder and CEO of Dietitian Boss. Our company helps registered dietitians start and grow a private practice so that you can achieve freedom and flexibility by becoming your own boss. Now, if this type of content sounds like something that can help you, go ahead and hit subscribe. We post new videos every Tuesday to inspire and motivate you to start taking action in your dietitian private practice. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I get started in my dietitian private practice? That's one of the most common questions that we hear from you at Dietitian Boss. And the answer is courage. You must employ a level of courage in order for you to make those first steps towards getting your first clients and setting up your business and getting your contract in place if you're seeing clients in a coaching capacity and making progress, showing your face online, being open to failure if something doesn't work the way that you intended, and developing a strong growth mindset when it comes to learning new things such as technology and improving your communication skills. So employing courage, whether you are working a full-time job and you're starting on the side, or whether you decided to make this full-time and you skipped clinical, you're still going to need to tap into your level of courage in order to become your own boss. Now, I do have an entire video dedicated step-by-step with how you can get started in your private practice. So stay tuned till the end and I'll make sure to link that so you can watch that next. Now, if you're wondering how long does it take to build up my dietitian private practice, that's a great question. Now, you can technically get everything set up less than 30 days. What you need to get set up is registering your business in your state or territory. So we've got clients all over the world and we can't speak for anywhere outside of, the US, or even different states have different rules and parameters. So you need to check with your local governing body and make sure that you're registering your business. You're also going to need to make sure you have liability insurance. Now, through the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, there's a very affordable rate for liability insurance. You can go ahead and secure that just to make sure that you are being compliant and being safe. And then the next piece would be, if you're providing any kind of consulting or coaching, you will need to get a contract. Anytime you're selling a service, you want to make sure you're protecting both you and the client. Now, we've got a link below, and contracts do cost money. So what I suggest to keep funds low is that you save this link below that's listed in the description box, and you only purchase a contract after somebody pays you. And that's going to save you that additional fee so that you can break even or so, depending on how much you're charging your first client. Now, if you choose to sell digital products like many of our clients, you won't need that contract until you're actually delivering a service. So if you're delivering courses, if you're selling an online course, then there's terms and conditions that are listed in a learning management system. And there are so many. We are not sponsored by any, but we do recommend a specific learning management system. It's called Teachable, only because I've been using it for years and many of our clients use it. It's a good starter platform that you can use, although there are many different options, and you can also use an EMR, electronic medical records system. Many of them allow you to create courses inside the EMR, so those are also great options. So again, it kind of depends, but the learning management system platforms like Teachable are free at first until you get a couple clients, and then they start charging you a nominal monthly fee. So again, the cost is pretty low to start up. You're just going to need to get a few systems set into place in order for you to hit the ground running. Now, in our Rebellion program, we list out step by step what to do when, so that you have a roadmap every single week and a project associated with the roadmap to get your online course up and running and to build your online presence so that you can start attracting clients and selling them into your digital product. So that's a great start if you're interested. And I'll list a link below called the 3 Secrets to Starting Your Private Practice, where you can learn a little bit more about that program and see if that feels like a good fit for you. Now, you're probably wondering, what about life stuff? Because that comes up a lot. So maybe you're wondering about the best time, because a lot of our clients and audience at large are looking for the perfect time to start your private practice. And there is no perfect time. I haven't met anybody that didn't wish they started earlier. So the best thing to do is to take small, consistent action and really tap into your inner courage to make momentum. So there's never a perfect time. So those of you that are delivering a child, or you move to a new house, or maybe you're starting your master's degree, or maybe your family or someone's going to move in with you for a little bit, whatever the situation is, as long as you have about an hour a week to make progress towards growing your practice, that's a good step. Now, if you do want to start your business, you will need to allocate regular, consistent time, just like anything, just like taking and in passing a course in school to become a dietitian, you're going to need to allocate time. And you've done that before to become a dietitian. You've passed your schooling, you've passed your examination, you've completed your dietetic internship, and you can also get your practice up and off the ground. You're just going to need to dedicate and earmark a certain amount of time. So again, once you remind yourself there's no perfect time, and to make the progress and take the action steps to move forward, that should inspire you to keep going and get some momentum. So that means if you're a student, you can absolutely start a course. And if you're in your internship, you can also get started. You just want to make sure that you're earmarking an hour a week, about, on average, most weeks, to making progress. So maybe you're wondering, can dietitians have their own practice? And that's a really common question because you might want to work for someone else's practice, or you might think that you need permission to start your own business. And it makes sense that you feel that way because dietitians operating their own private practice is still not common in our industry. In fact, according to the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, only 8% of dietitians own a business. So that means there's a lot of opportunity for us to start opening a business and for us to start helping more people and really live that life that's aligned with freedom and flexibility. So there's a lot of room for us to grow, and it's a good opportunity for us to find peers who are growing a business. There's so few of us, and connect and network and build our skills together, because the road is very lonely if you don't have any peers to go on, travel that road with you. So there's a couple structures. There's a traditional structure, and then there's more of a modern structure. The traditional structure of private practice means you have a full caseload, you might be taking insurance, or you might be filling up and stacking clients all day, right? So you might be squeezing appointments back to back. And that's traditional, and that's not the only way to run a private practice. Many of our clients take the more modern approach, and they incorporate multiple streams of revenue, and they'll create digital products and services. Now, that might mean they do some coaching and some digital products, like they'll have a course and they'll offer coaching, but they have flexibility, and that allows them the opportunity to work less hours and to potentially leverage their time. Because if you're selling a group program or you're selling a digital product, that means that you're paid more per hour versus if you're stacking clients back to back. And if you hire clinicians under you, whether they're contractors or full-time, you still have to manage those clinicians. So there are many different options. I think so many of us are familiar with the traditional model, and I want to inspire you and let you know that modern approach to multiple revenue streams and creating courses and running groups and taking cash pay as your primary way to make money and help serve people, that is what we're talking about here. Now, you can combine any type of model that you wish as long as you know there's options. And if you want freedom and flexibility and Fridays off and a 20-hour work without sacrificing profits, you can do so and design it how you see fit. And you can also see and accept the types of clients that you want to see and position yourself as an expert in the space that resonates with your nutrition philosophy. And I don't know about you, but for me and for our clients, that sure feels very aligning to be able to promote and advocate for causes that we believe in, whether it's something aligned with mental health, child nutrition, life cycle, sports performance, weight neutrality, body positivity, or weight loss, or any combination of any of those specialties that I mentioned. You have the power and the choice to advocate for what you believe in once you create a strong message and you adopt the model that you want as a private practitioner. The last thing I want to mention is charging. So even if you charge a nominal fee, you want to make sure to charge at least something. So what I see is a lot of dietitians offer free work, or they'll offer a nominal fee like $100 for a session or $200 for a session and 3 follow-ups. But these clinicians never increase their fees. So if you're always priced really low and you never increase, or you're free, but you don't ever have a price that really reflects your rate per hour, it's going to be really hard for you to grow and sustain your business. So keeping your price in alignment with what your hourly rate is and making sure you're standardizing your services is a really important component when it comes to running your practice. Now, a lot of you ask, what's a typical day for a dietitian? Now, I'm going to give 2 answers, one for clinical and one for private practice. So when it comes to clinical, again, it can depend. Are you inpatient? Are you outpatient? Are you long-term care? Are you per diem? Do you have, busy hospital? Are you a manager? So there's a lot of factors here, but overall, there are some similarities when it comes to being a clinical dietitian, and that's that you're charting a lot. You're assessing patients. You might be offering some nutrition education, but depending on the stage of change for the patient, you might not be doing too much nutrition education. Again, it depends if you're outpatient or inpatient. inpatient typically is not a whole lot of education. Again, maybe there's an exception and maybe there are some settings where there's a whole lot of nutrition education going on. Not in any of my clinical jobs did I do a whole ton of education. It was mainly assessment and documentation, interdisciplinary team. That was the life of clinical. No, there are some nuances here. So if you are doing tube feeding and TPNs, that could be a little bit different. That's specialized. If you're doing diabetes management, that's also specialized as well, because you have to, if you're a certified diabetes educator, you have to sit in for your exam, and that takes 1,000 hours. If you're an entry-level dietitian, let's say in an inpatient or outpatient setting, and you're not a manager, because a manager would mean that you have to oversee another clinician, your day is probably going to be filled with assessments and documentation. To me, I found that pretty boring. I also found that a lot of the patients weren't ready to talk about nutrition, and they were really low on the stages of change model. And my favorite thing to do is educate and counsel, and I wasn't really able to do that in a clinical setting. But the irony is that because I was insecure and I felt that I needed my 2 years of clinical experience, I put myself in that situation to pay my dues and get my clinical experience, even though in that setting, I didn't get to actually flex my counseling muscles. And that was really hard for me. So I ended up teaching and speaking and finding opportunities to tap into my inner strengths, but I didn't feel like I was stimulated as a clinician because those opportunities were not directly afforded to me in the clinical setting, in the 9-to-5 job. You're also probably going to need to be familiar with software. In my clinical setting, we use Allscripts at a couple of my hospitals, and even one of them still had paper charting, which was several years ago. I know that now you're required to do electronic, but those documentation systems actually can translate really well if you're using an electronic medical record system as a private practitioner. And for those of you that feel intimidated by software, you're not alone. A lot of us do. It's just a matter of adopting a mindset that you can figure it out and sitting with it and spending some time learning. And it's absolutely something that all of us can learn. Is just got to sit and be a little patient with yourself as you're able to adopt those different technology pieces into our daily lives. Now, as far as a private practitioner day in the life, I actually have an entire video based on that I'll link here, and then I'll link again at the end that you can watch. And it depends. It depends on the model. So for many of our clients, they love flexibility. They want to have Fridays off. They want to spend time with their families. They want to start their day at 10 a.m. or later. They don't want to hit the ground running the first thing they wake up. They want to spend those precious hours with their families and their children. Or if you don't yet have children, you want to spend that time on yourself, reflecting, meditating, working out, enjoying nature. And so as a private practitioner, you can choose the hours you work, the days you want to work. And because you choose the model meaning, are you in group practice? Are you a solopreneur? Are you offering courses? Are you offering a combination? Your daily schedule and the way that you operate and live is based around your model. And if you're feeling like you're not sure how to design that, you're not alone. I can definitely help you with that. If you have more questions about time management, or you want to see a day in the life of a course creator or different types of dietitians with different models, let me know in the comments below and I'll see what I can put together so that I can give you content that really inspires you. But the bottom line here is, as a private practitioner, you have flexibility. You can take lunch breaks when you please. You can record content, whether it's for YouTube or Instagram or any social media platform, at your leisure. Right now, I'm in my living room on a Friday afternoon because this is when I felt like recording this YouTube video. And I designed my day based on when I have the peak optimum creative flows. And I also design my day around my team, and we work together. And I've got a time block and theme certain days, and that helps me increase productivity and give me time for balance, which is one of our values here at Dietitian Boss, so I can spend time with my husband and on my hobbies and on myself. And for those of you that follow me on social media at Dietitian Boss, you know that I practice spa day. So that's a really fun way to integrate self-care. And of course, you can integrate self-care however you wish. It might be a face mask at home. Maybe you're wondering, are nutritionists regulated? This is a really, really popular question that I get asked at least 3 times a day. Now, dietitians are the only nutrition profession to be regulated by law, and we're governed by a code to ensure that we're held at the highest standard. So what this means is that we have compliance issues. And so we've got a free guide that we'll link below that our lawyer drew up for us. And the Academy has resources too to learn about state licensure, scope of practice, and making sure you're doing your due diligence to protect your license. Now, keep in mind, this can cause frustration, especially if you're practicing medical nutrition therapy, because as a clinician, if you're providing coaching or consulting and you're marketing yourself in an online space, you have to be aware of where you live and where the client lives and make sure that you are doing your due diligence and that you actually are licensed in their state if they live in a licensure state. So again, I can't give any individual recommendations. That's outside of the scope of a business coach, but we do have resources and access for you to learn how to navigate licensure because again, we are a regulated field. We're a regulated profession, not a field. Nutrition at Whole isn't regulated. Dietitians are. So lastly, what I want to say is one of the other benefits of creating digital products is that a digital product like a course isn't necessarily something that needs to be regulated because you're not giving individual advice to a specific person, right? You're not assessing a specific person and saying based on their height and weight and their lab values or any recommendations that are going to be specific to them. So if you've got a course and you're, let's say, talking about prenatal vitamins, you can give a chart and tell people they need to self-assess and identify what works for them or how they can meal plan based on your templates. And that gives you the ability to step outside of having to be licensed because you're not providing any coaching or consulting. So again, one of the benefits of creating a course or an educational product is that you are not giving specific recommendations to the specific person, so you might not have to be licensed where they reside. And that's another benefit as far as still being compliant, but making sure that you are doing your due diligence about how you can make sure that you're protecting yourself and protecting your client. Now, if you like this video and you want to learn more about what is it like to have all these digital products and to be a dietitian where you can travel the world at your leisure and hire your husband to work with you and run a membership that makes a lot of money and impacts a lot of people, well, that would be Dietitian Boss alumni Ryan Kipping. So I want you to check out the video that pops up on the screen if you want to learn about how she got to where she is today, and make sure to follow her on social media. She's doing amazing work in the space of prenatal, and she is living her best life traveling with her husband and her dog. Now, I mentioned earlier that I'll share a couple other videos too if you want to learn about a day in the life, specifically a day in my life. That video will be linked on the screen. And then don't forget to watch the video that breaks down step by step how to start your private practice. That's one of our most popular videos to date. So I'm sure that you will enjoy learning about those step-by-step tips, and we'll see you next time.